they never respond. Like it'll be 10,000 people saw her story, but only 400 of us responded.
Oh.
And she didn't do her recent Sunday service because she was tired. But yeah,
people didn't deserve it anyways. Out here taking all this knowledge and then not giving no feedback.
Exactly.
We need the support. Support is necessary.
Oh my God, she is here. Hi, everybody.
Again?
Yes,
We
she
were
is
just
back.
talking
Oh my
about
God.
Jeez Louise. Wow, this is gonna be fun.
Alright, you ready to get started?
We can.
Alright. Good evening. What'd she say? Stealing in all this intellectual property. Yes.
Yeah.
Peace, everyone. Tonight is another live, the Iconoclasts series. My second guest of honor, which is the first time I've done an in-person live. I have Miss Briana Bundage, aka Life of an Herb Wife here.
Peace, y'all.
Yes, and if you don't know what iconoclast means, icon is the person that society or the majority holds up to this standard that we are supposed to revere. Classed comes from breaking, and so I have chosen individuals that want to break the mold and what we consider, the norm. And I feel like Briana is someone that continues to do anything but be a normal individual. So
Thank you.
here
Thank
she
you.
is.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very, very excited and grateful to be present with you.
Yes.
It's an honor really to be featured on something like this. I feel famous.
You
so
are
thank
famous.
you. This is cool. I feel like I'm on legit Stephanie's talk show. Yeah, this is dope.
Yes. And so when we were talking on the 24th about why you were chosen to be a part of the series, you wanted to talk about quite a few things, and I want you to just kind of touch base on the reasons why you felt like this message needed to happen on this particular live.
Okay. So, do you want me to tell the multiple things that I wanted to talk about, or just the reason why?
The reason.
Okay. I am present tonight because I want to just be very honest about who I am, because I feel like a lot of people get misconceptions about a person based off of what little part of their lives that we allow people to see. So I just feel like this was a beautiful place to be very vulnerable. I feel very safe with Stephanie. She is a very good friend of mine, and I feel like also it's a part of my healing journey to be very transparent and to be held accountable by my community. I feel like my Instagram community, because I'm so vulnerable and transparent, I allow y'all to really be family to me. And so when I'm going through something, I want to be able to just tell about it and be held accountable. And hey, remember sis, you said this, so what about that, So yeah, that is why.
Awesome. You said that your story can influence, and I'm assuming this is your following or your community, you feel like your story can influence them in some kind of way. If you want to touch on that.
Yeah, so I'll just go ahead and get into the nittiest of gritties. Okay, so the work that I do, let me just start there. The main work that I do, I serve as a birth worker. And in that work, I support families on their journey to parenthood, and just within the journey of parenthood. Also, really just supporting women, more specifically, yes, the family's great and the family's necessary, I feel like a lot of women are not fully aware of their role in the family, and I would like for my work to represent that. So I had an abortion in 2017, and when I had this experience, it wasn't necessarily something that, I don't think it was a choice that like I intentionally made for myself. I think that my ego self was just kind of like, I want to protect us because this feels like out of our control. And I just kind of like responded from fear instead of like my actual capabilities and my actual worth and my capabilities. So I am now doing this work because I know that had I had someone like myself to come and pour into myself and say like, you are very able of doing this, like you were chosen for this, this is a gift, like it's a beautiful thing to be able to do this no matter the circumstance, then I would have my child today. But I did not have someone like me. I didn't even know what a doula or a birth worker was at the time. And so I went ahead and decided to have an abortion because I felt like that was the safest thing. And yeah. So let me just breathe on that for a minute. I feel also like so I usually don't talk about this unless it's like, I feel like it's something that can actually impact someone else's decision. So for me to be here saying it on live, it's again part of like the healing that I feel like, it's kind of like the completion to my healing because I'm just kind of revealing a really strong part of what makes me who I am and like what drives my passion. And I think sometimes people have like expectations of like what they feel like you should be, or how they feel like you should be portraying yourself based off of the part of the journey that you're sharing with them now. And so I just want to be very honest about like, I don't really feel like I'm perfect, and I don't want anybody else to feel like I'm perfect. I want people to feel like I'm human, and I do great things as a human being, like choosing to be present and choosing to be vulnerable and choosing to be sad sometimes and choosing to be mad sometimes and like being real as hell, like just like just showing up like as I am, and not being like in the box of like, well, you're a birth worker, so I thought birth workers do this. Like, you don't know what birth workers do. You don't actually know what we experience and know like the type of energy that we're putting into what we're doing. So for us to be able and willing to freely express in ways like I feel like I do, it is a gift. And I don't think anyone should be able to label how that should look. Right. So I'm being real about that here. You are. Once and for all on Stephanie's, on the Iconoclasts series with Stephanie, so that y'all could know. For real. And leave the expectations outside of my Instagram page and like my life. Yeah. Yes. That was very freeing.
I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad you got to release on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that when we were doing the Zoom call to prepare for this, it was a lot of things that came up, and you felt like you needed to journal. And I think that even now,
I got it.
Let me see. Sheesh Keish says, acknowledging that you are operating out of fear is the first step, and forgiving yourself is the next. I love you, Bree.
I love you.
Let me pull up my question.
Yeah. I love y'all. Thank y'all.
Do you want to pull up, because you can pull up the live on your phone and keep track of the questions, the comments, and
Okay,
then I'll
and you'll do the
keep
questions?
the questions on this one.
Bet. I can do that. Let's see. Turning it down.
And so, if you have anything that you want to talk about that came from your journaling,
Yeah.
we can, and then we'll dive into how 2020 has been a truthful year for you.
Okay, one moment, because I don't want to be like sniffling. So let me go get some tissue real quick. real quick. And I just brought the whole box in case you want to cry at some point too, you know?
Thank you.
Okay. So, oh, and I closed my whole journal when I left. Let's see. I was basically, so one of the things that I remember like off the top of my mind right now is that I know that I don't want to do birth work in the way that I do it forever. That was one thing that came up because I really want to be present for my family when I begin to start my family. And the way that I give of myself when I'm serving another mother, I don't know that I would be able to show up for my children the way that I want to fully. So I am just being very present. Like, this is serving me now, and I'm serving my community now in a very beautiful way, and I enjoy it. So I know that that's important. That was just one thing that came up. Is there something specific that you remember that you want me to speak on?
No, I think that specific thing is making me emotional because at the time when we were talking about it, I was coming to grips with the fact that I'm pregnant. And I think that understanding that I found my passion right when I'm entering a new phase where I feel like this type of aspect of the work I can no longer do. And I feel like with another child, all that's going to do is separate me even more, because I don't know how along the way I have, subconsciously suppressed the feelings as far as like, my partner's got it, he's there with the kids, everything's good, and I can go and do what I gotta do. But then when I come home and feel like, they're asleep, or there are aspects where I'm not present, and I can see, the difference in them based on me not being there, it's made it that much more hard, as well as the fact that I have literally no patience for the fact that I've been doing donation-based work, free work, and convincing people or, giving my all to everyone. Like, literally in a 15-minute discussion with me, you're going to take so much information versus the appointment that you went and got with your provider. And so much is taken from me and not reciprocated back, and I see that, and it's making me want to adjust that in some ways, just like I said in my previous live about the fact that maybe I want to do education, maybe I want to do things in a different aspect versus me physically attending a birth or me physically doing prenatals and teaching all of these things, even though I felt like that was what I'm here for in the first place. So I think that you brought that to my attention when you said that birth work or that aspect of birth work isn't going to be the end all for me, because you know what decisions you want to make as a mother. It really affirmed where I already am as a mom, and I know that that's the changes that I need to make.
I do feel like I honor that, everything that you said. That's your beautiful feelings. And I also want to acknowledge your community that you also spoke on in your last live, where you mentioned that you have built and are continuing to build an establishment of people, of beings that love you and support you and love your children and your family and support all of y'all in that same way. So just have your feelings, just don't let them limit you. Yeah.
You're right.
Don't let them limit.
But yes, 2020 has been a truthful year for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you spoke on the fact that a lot of truths have been revealed about who you really are, what you really want, and what the fuck is really going on with the world.
I did say that. I said that. Just like that. Okay, so I think 2020 was the best year that I've ever had. And I'm not saying that to be boastful, because I also want to honor the fact that 2020 was a really shitty year for a lot of people. I feel like my perspective is what made this year what it was for me. In 2020, I moved into an apartment with my ex-boyfriend now, but at the time we were together. And which I guess I need to go back a little bit more into my story, but I'm gonna pick up here and then we can go back there. So in 2020, I moved in. Where everything was, well, I'm not even gonna say that everything wasn't great. We were trying to be better when we moved in together, and I think we were both just ready to be out of our parents' spaces. So, and also we had just got like our big boy and big girl job, like working at this unmentionable place that actually I just mentioned in my story today, if y'all really want to know where I'm talking about. But we were working at this place, and I was doing really great work that I loved at the time. Then coronavirus happened, and we were not able to, this was pre the worst of the pandemic, because technically the pandemic came around like November last year, but we were just all like, oh, that's all the way in, somewhere else, so it's not here. But pretty much in January of 2020, we moved in together, and this was like, the pandemic wasn't that bad, so we were still working there, we were still in office. Eventually it got to a point, I guess like mid-March, where they were like, y'all are going to work from home now, because the work that I was doing was providing health education services to youth groups, which I loved. Like, I love children. Children are the highlights of this world. I feel like they're just so perfect, and I feel like people that don't like children, like, I think they're really doing something wrong. Like, as a being, like, you are doing the wrong work if you don't like children. Because they're so pure and, like, moldable, and you can just pour so much into them and make them actually great. So, anyways, I feel like the work that I was doing at the time was, like, really serving me. Then, when COVID happened, there were no more children in school, so we could not go to schools to educate them anymore. And also, the work was more of it wasn't like one of their main classes, like English, math. It wasn't like a main subject. It was kind of like elective style. So then they shifted us to like an online platform, and nobody was really trying to hear what we had to say like online. Like they already didn't want to be doing school like that. So to have to go to a class that really was not a grade for them was also like, it was challenging for me as an instructor trying to do this. And I realized that this was not the way that I envisioned my life at all. Like, when I was manifesting working for this place, I was like having an office and getting to go and see children, and it just looked different. So when it shifted, I was like, nah, this isn't it. And I started to feel depressed. And that is just something that is familiar to me, because I'll go back there. But basically, like, when I felt the inkling of, like, bitch, you're sad. Like, you're sad about what you're doing. Like, this is not really fun for you. Like, you're forcing yourself to do something every day. And it's also making you be, like, not that great of a girlfriend and not that great of a daughter. And, like, your expression is just terrible. Like, it's not you. So you have to remove what's really like putting that in your path. And I realized that it was this work. So I quit in July. And that was an interesting time, because I went off on them actually, because I felt like they had disrespected me, but the way that I presented myself was still like out of character, which was like, damn, like you really, like you let yourself get to a place. So I should have quit a long time ago, clearly, but I was still there. So when I finally did quit, they did something that I felt like was pretty foul, which basically they packed my shit for me. Like I quit, I put in the 2-week notice, and they packed my items, and then they would not let me come back into the building. It was interesting. So I ended up turning up on them, and then I decided to let it go. And when I did, I feel like everything for me just really fell into place. Like I was very afraid at first of what I would do without having this for sure paycheck, and like what I would do because I had moved into an apartment. I had like real legit responsibilities for the first time ever for me. And it just felt like, I don't know, a big transition is the best way that I can put it. I was really transitioning into a version of myself that, number one, I'm very proud of, but basically I was just like shedding layers of like shit that I had picked up since I would say like high school, of like how I needed to be and what life needed to be like for me. And I guess now I'll kind of go a little bit backwards because I need to give y'all some context. So I grew up, I would say, like well taken care of. I don't think that I'm spoiled, but I feel like spoiled people never feel like they're spoiled. So I don't know, maybe that is, you know, I'm biased. But I feel like my family still taught me like the concept of working hard and like how you have to work for what you get, basically. Like I wasn't just handed things, but I was always well taken care of. So my grandfather is the type of man that is pretty controlling with, like, he expresses love with money. So that was kind of a way that he like controlled us in a sense. I don't know how to describe it. He has 3 daughters. Then my mother had me and my sister, so we're the 2 grandbabies. And he was really just like loving on us and giving us everything that we needed and wanted. Like I got my first vehicle because of him, and I had a gas card because, you know, I needed to get to and from the University of Houston that I didn't stay at very long. And once I decided to stop going to college, then my grandfather basically cut me off from like all of his love, essentially. And so I ended up just deciding that like I cared because it was emotionally dramatic for me to not have like the love and support from my family in the way that I had always like received it. But then something clicked and I was just like, well, this isn't really what I want anyways. Like I would like my family to support my freedom of expression, and I would like my family to support me as a person, and not just like I can make my own money. Like I can handle this by following my dreams and like being in my passion and being in my purpose. So what the limitations that they were putting on me by being fearful, I'm not in any way like talking down on them. I know that they meant well, and they were speaking from what they had. So they didn't see the vision that like my creator gave me, and that's what I was following. And I was very okay with like, if y'all are going to see it. Like for me, it was just the point was like, I know that I'm going to get there, so it's going to be proven to you, so you can just feel how you feel now. But when we're all, you know, like on our yacht, you know, chilling and enjoying life, because I followed my dreams for us all, then y'all are going to be fine. So, like, my mom was very afraid. All of my family was telling me basically I wasn't going to be shit. Like, I can't believe that you're not going to get a degree. Like, what are you going to do? And this is not good for you, and all kinds of things. Also in this time, I was having my own emotional trauma of like, I can't even say, I don't even know, like, I don't have a word to describe what I was experiencing. I just know that I guess you could put it in the category of like daddy issues. Mm. So, aside from me like trying to figure out how I was going to just follow my passion, I was also getting involved in a very serious and beautiful relationship. And we were together for about 6 months before I ended up kind of getting involved again with someone from my past. So this is kind of like, I'm taking a really interesting route here, but like that's how the abortion came about. So I actually was with my partner that was very good to me, and I think that I was very used to the type of treatment and energy that I received from this other person that was someone that I engaged in sexual activity with for the very first time before I even knew like what power I possessed, you know, and what I was really doing with myself. So it was very familiar. I ended up engaging in sex with him, and then I got pregnant, and that is also partially why I chose to have an abortion, because I knew that this was just really going to be like a repeat of what happened with my mother. So I didn't want to be raising a child that I knew the father really wasn't like wanting to be here for. Like, he literally told me, I can't afford to raise a child, so I'm going to be like an absent father, but I can help you get an abortion. And that was just like very definitive for me. Like, okay, like I'm grateful because he didn't like lie and pretend with me, but it was also very hurtful. And I think that also compelled me to just be like, she or he, which I really feel like it was a girl, so I'm gonna say she was not wanted by like half of what created her. So I didn't want her to have to grow up feeling similar to how I felt, because I realize now that this is why I possibly was engaging with a guy like this. And even now, sitting here thinking about it, like, he has a lot of tendencies of my biological father. So it was kind of like I chose something that was familiar. I chose abandonment. I chose, you know, like having to fight for love, which you really shouldn't have to fight for love. You should just be loved because you exist. And I think that it just, yeah, to sum it all up, it was very familiar. So I decided to go ahead and abort my child, but I didn't tell my partner that I was currently with until a year later. So this is also why the move-in was not a good idea, you guys. It was not a good idea, but we did it anyways, and like, I'm in a beautiful space now. I'll get there, but yeah. In alignment with me trying to figure out if I wanted to be in college, I was also having an abortion and like releasing that energy. And I feel like I will say, like, I don't think that was a one-time experience as far as like how I experienced those emotions. Mm-hmm. Like, I think that an abortion is like an ongoing thing, and that's just how I relate to it. Like, I'm always going to remember and acknowledge her. Like, I named her. Like, I'm always going to acknowledge her as like, that is a spirit that chose me at a time, and that spirit also guided me to choose myself differently, because I now view sex differently. And I feel like sex is a very sacred thing, which is, damn, this is everything that drives my work. Like, that's why I want to talk to women and tell women, like, who you are, and know who you are, and know that men can only do what you allow. Like, your partner can only get as far as you will let them go. With your energy, with your body, with your power, with your mind, with your intellect, like everything, like only as far as you will allow. So it's so important for us to know who we are so we can set those boundaries and know what we're searching for and what we're desiring, so that we can clearly see when it comes our way, instead of sabotaging it like I did through like not being able to recognize that this is actually what you wanted all this time. Like, this is what you prayed for, and here this nigga is, and you're like, this is too good to be true. Like, it's gotta be something. Like, this is not familiar. Like, you're used to hurting, and you're used to having to question if he's doing something, and used to having to check his phone, and used to having to look on Instagram and make a fake Instagram so that you could see if he's gonna like do something like just petty, like just childish, just insecure. And none of that had to be moved into what was new for me, but I wasn't intentional about that. And so I feel like I went a whole everywhere.
You did, but everything came together.
Yeah, so
if you want to look at some comments,
yeah,
a whole bunch of words.
Let's see. Oh my gosh. Okay, y'all, let's look. This work is so important. This sharing is healing. This is dope. I appreciate y'all holding space. We are happy to. I'm glad that y'all are here sharing the space with us. Yes, it was pre-pandemic. A shift happened for so many people, having to sit at home and be with themselves. Yes, it was rude. I think she was talking about when they packed my stuff. Yeah, it was rude. I didn't even know Black people did that to their kids. It sounds like a privileged Caucasian story. I'm in awe. Yes, it was very privileged. It was very privileged, super privileged, and I'm grateful. I think that's also why sometimes I feel like my mom doesn't acknowledge that I like do appreciate. Like just because I feel like sometimes parents constantly want us to acknowledge the sacrifice that they made for us, which is like, I acknowledge it. And I feel like I'm doing that through the life that I'm living.
Right.
But if it doesn't really align with how you would have done it or how you would have liked to see it based off all the sacrifice that you put in, then it's like, that's really not fair.
Lonnie, so Loving the Journey recently had her first live for her series called Liberating Black Women, episode 1, which was about breaking generational curses. And her and Jackie B, they were talking about the aspect of how they, one of the generational curses is that you are supposed to constantly be in the struggle and constantly feel that struggle and never get out of it. And so I asked the question of like, is the mentality that they think that we're going to forget the struggle? Because we can be still aware, and that's the whole point of you teaching us everything that got us to this moment, but you're not supposed to want, suffering to be intergenerational. Yeah.
That's another thing that I guess I can speak on briefly, because I just had someone, let me tell like a little mini story, because on Instagram I'm very vocal and I'm very expressive and I'm myself, and I speak my mind a lot because I feel like it is my Instagram, and people that follow me, it is their choice to follow me. Therefore, it is their choice to be susceptible to whatever I choose to say, how I choose to say it. Yeah. So I recently shared a post about shrimp having parasites. And I shared my sentiments on that. And like real quick, and be like 100% honest with me. Do you feel like I was aggressive?
From what I saw, no.
Do you feel like I was aggressive before I addressed it, and like how I even said what I was saying about the shrimp?
So I didn't necessarily see the post that specified the parasites. I saw what came after that, as far as like what you were explaining, as far as your perspective and why you said what you said. I saw the comments from that person and why, what they said, and that's where I came from with it. But it's no different than any other situation that has come up with your following.
Yeah. I like to be held accountable. I like to hold myself accountable. Like I have no issue with being like, okay, I was wrong there, and this is how I can address myself, because I think correction helps people be better. When it comes from a good place, like when it comes from a place of love and compassion, of course. But like, I feel like so let me just say I was on there saying what I said, how I said it, because also I'm really goofy. Like, I don't know. I feel Also, like, that's another reason why sometimes social media irritates me, because I feel like people take a lot of things so seriously. And it's a form of expression. Like, I feel like, don't get to know me through Instagram. Get to know me through, like, getting to know me. Like, hit me up, and you might see that what you see on Instagram is a very small part of what I actually am. And so you taking this piece and being like, damn, she's this, is really, you're really, like, hoeing yourself, actually. Like, for lack of better words, like, you're making an assumption and missing out on something that you, like, you're getting this small portion and you're being like all of this with it. So this person came to me and said that I was being very aggressive and judgy because I said what I said, how I said it. And I feel like that's cool if a person feels that way. What's not cool, though, is coming in my DMs to tell me that. And what's also not cool is allowing, like, I personally feel like sometimes if something is affecting you so deeply, it's probably something that you've already addressed in yourself, so, like, in a small area, and you just haven't chosen to make the change, or, like, change the habit, or, you know, take the extra mile to have that discipline. Like, it's not me that you're mad at. You're really upset with, like, kind of your spirit calling you out. Like, damn, sis, like, that's, you know what I mean? So I just feel like it's not, you shouldn't come and argue with me. And also, you don't have to be here on my Instagram page watching my story. But you are, like, that's your choice. So a part of that, like, there was a time where I actually deleted my Instagram because of something similar. Like, this has really always been a pattern for me. Like, I'm always going to speak my mind and say what I feel, because this is my safe space that I'm making safe for me. That's also why I express myself the way that I do there, because especially me being an entrepreneur, I'm not going to be a version of myself that I feel like people want to see me as, and then you hire me and then it's like I have to be that. Like, I want to be myself. So I'm going to also be myself on social media. This is what I'm using to market me. I'm going to be what you're going to get when you purchase my service, when you invest in my work, when you decide to come in actual, like, contact with me. So I just think that's always been something that I've dealt with, which is also why, like, I was struggling with, like, how do I separate myself from my brand? Because I am my brand. Like, all of that is me. You're not going to get a different version of me at birth and a different version of me sitting right here with Stephanie. Like, it's going to be the same. It might be a little more calm, you know, a little more focused on whatever the task at hand is, but, like, it's always going to come with the same carefree energy. That's like, I'm coming with truth, I'm coming with facts, I'm coming with love, I'm coming with courage, I'm coming with authenticity, like, I'm coming with abundance. All the things that I know that I am, I'm going to show up like that. And that's just really important for me. So to have someone come to my messages and just, I don't know, like, try to demean me because of what you feel about it, I'm just not really with that. And I think that's partially the main reason of, like, just why I deliver myself the way that I do, because I don't ever want anybody to get just the wrong concept or to have the wrong expectation based off of what they've decided about me. I would rather you have no expectation and just let me show you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I always go on a whole other tangent.
No, it's all good.
Oh my gosh.
So I was going to talk about the differences in decisions that I made on not having abortions with, I guess, my other two children, and learning about my mom's experiences with abortion and loss. And so, very briefly, so my son is 5 years old, my daughter is 1. In both situations, I was in two different areas in life. So with my son, I was 19, I was living with my mom, and my partner and I were long distance. And so the thought of abortion never came to me. It came from my mom. And it was kind of like, my role in my family on both sides is kind of like, oh, Stephanie is just this golden child. She's so sweet. She's so smart. She has all of these things going for her, and we want her to be successful and whatever that means for us. And I think my mom may have seen herself being pregnant with me at 19, going through the same thing. She didn't want me to have to give parts of myself away to a man, to children, and not be able to flourish in the ways that I wanted to. But that didn't come until later for me to understand. I think in the moment it was just like I was experiencing coercion, I was experiencing judgment and frustration, and just I couldn't get out of this situation because that's what she wanted for me. And then ultimately, when she decided to give in to, you know, my grief of feeling like, you know, I feel like I can do this. I feel like I can have a baby. And my partner or boyfriend at the time, he was feeling like, you know, I don't want you to do something that you'll regret. And I believe that if you want to, we can make this work. And so if I felt like he felt that way, and I felt like I wasn't even really sure of you know, what to do. Mind you, I didn't know that if I would have went to the clinic, they would have given me the choice because I was an adult. I was so used to thinking about being dependent on my mom, being dependent on my grandfather and my, you know, my family, that I didn't even think about having a choice once I entered the room, because how in my family, we're raised to believe that we're children forever, and everything that our family says and society says is the gospel. And so I still decided to have my child even with that, but then I immediately felt like I needed to get out of the situation. I need to go and have my own family elsewhere so that I can make sense of my family for myself. And the judgment that came from not just that area, but from my father, from, you know, my family as a whole, I felt like I didn't feel supported. It was more of just a continuation of talking about things that had nothing to do with me. My daughter came around when I had already moved into the apartment that I live in now. It'll be about 3 years that I've been there. And with my daughter, she came at a time where I had been doing work, union work. And I felt like I was really good at it, you know, and this is the first time I'm making living wage money. Living wage money in Houston means $15 an hour. So you're coming home with $5.20 a week. That was the most I had ever made at that point. And in that particular position, I was able to leave my job. So I was working as a cashier, but I was a union rep in that position. The union rep job was $12 an hour. And because I was so good at speeches and I spoke so eloquently, I got to do union work. And the union started to use me for the political aspect and getting the mayor voted for, and all of the different things in the sacrifice of so many different people losing their jobs and so many different people, you know, experiencing things before the pandemic even occurred. And so when I found out that I was pregnant, I wasn't even thinking about the fact that, you know, I'm on my own, I'm independent now, and I can, you know, this shouldn't be, you know, an issue. But I did start to feel those same feelings of like, what should I do? Or, you know, this is going to be such a detriment to my family. They're going to feel however they felt the first time. And so when I told my mom this time, she actually did the opposite. She was like, you know, I support you, whatever you want, this and that, which was great. Whereas like telling my dad, it was just kind of like, oh, don't look at me having kids and think that this is fun, or just all kinds of BS that came out of his mouth because of whatever he felt about birth, women, children in general. And it didn't come across to me that he supported me. It was just that whatever his manifestations of feelings and thoughts were just there. And so this time around being pregnant, my entire family doesn't know. Unless they literally get on the live, which I tell them, hey, I have lives every week and this and that. They don't really pay attention. So this would be the first time that you're finding out if you're hopping in. I have a couple of family members that get on and this and that, but none of my family for the most part knows except one of my brothers. And so this child, I'm trying to protect myself and feel like, I'm not going to allow them to come into my space, whether that be, from far or from close, because I want to make sure that the decisions that I make every step of the way doesn't have that negativity tainting the situation. Even though I feel so sad because I want them to be a part and I want them to support me in the ways that I want the support, I have to sacrifice that because I'm so early on and I need to still process things because I just came out of deciding if I wanted to have an abortion or not.
Right.
So that versus, my mother, I didn't even know, that she had abortions before. And of course, that's something that I feel like if she's aware and would like for me to speak on, I'll speak on. But I had found those things out after asking her during my work as a union rep. And I was very much pregnant doing that. I came and spoke with her about it and she shared things with me. And it's not until now with the work that I do as a birth worker where I believe if she had that support in the way that I support my clients, in the ways that, the women in my community have supported me, she wouldn't have felt the ways that she has felt as far as being alone in the decisions that she's had to make. And so I just see a lot of similarities in that in myself. And I also feel like fear is a huge part of it. And I feel like more so I was just hearing thoughts of the people closest to me when it came to making those decisions. Let me see. What else?
I think it's really good that you recognize like what boundaries you want to set based off of your previous experiences. And also not really allowing that, like not letting that be like causing you to be negative in your approach to that, because it's like they could find out if they get on live and are participating in the things that you're inviting them to participate in, but also just setting those boundaries to not allow someone to intentionally infiltrate with what you have going on. Everyone saying congratulations, Steph.
Thanks, y'all. Let's see. So we kind of already talked about the big experiences that cause you to be your most authentic self. Whereas you quit college and the fact that during that time where you were going through that change of choosing yourself, Sandra Bland was killed.
Yes. And
you touched on that as well, and the fact that you said that there is too much civil unrest for you to be writing papers and thinking that you're doing something with your life.
You quote very well. I felt that way because I think I've learned that my role is to, I don't think that I'm a healer, but to guide people in their own healing. I don't think I can really just heal anyone, but I can definitely tell you what I did and love on you and provide, certain physical things that could benefit you in just being on your path. But when I was in school, I didn't feel like that was a part of me that was being nurtured. I could tell something was missing. And that was something that I already felt before Sandra Bland's murder. But she really showed me that I could graduate and be just on my way to work as an educated black woman in America, and the police can still just take me out the game. So all of this work is really just goes down the drain at that point to an extent. And I feel like I would rather be living now because of that fact. Because at any point I can just be visiting God directly. I really would rather have the experience that I need to have now and give what I have to give right now. And since I have chosen myself, I feel like God is very pleased. Like, I don't feel that God wanted me to be writing essays about the history that happened many, many years ago. Like, I don't think the ancestors were proud to have me just sitting in there doing that. Like, there was work that needed to be done through me, and writing essays was not it. Like, it wasn't it. It wasn't fulfilling. It was very limiting, like real life limiting, like what I was able to do and the way that my mind was able to expand. Like, because I had to be so focused on this class here and studying this, and like it was just like making me having to be such a way that didn't even allow me to be just myself. So yeah, that's pretty much like what drove me to that, because when I found out about Sandra Bland, then I was just like, all of this is really crazy, and I need to be doing more. Like, there's more that I could do to support this moment right here, because the work that I'm doing now is like way far in the future, when it's like also me deciding to make a choice for myself now is also helping my future. So why not just do the one that feels good to me and feels like I can enjoy my life through the process, because we're supposed to enjoy life. We're supposed to enjoy, like, that doesn't mean that things are never going to be challenging for us, but we're supposed to be able to have an appreciation for what we do on a daily basis with our time.
What do the numbers 116 mean to you?
So 116 is my birthday is January 16th. It's coming up. And when I was trying to decide if I was going to finish school or not, I kept waking up for a good 2 weeks at 1:16, either a.m. or I would be driving in my car and look at the time and it would be 1:16 p.m. Like, I kept getting these what I call spirit messages, because it was like, what are the odds that I would just wake up to go to the restroom at 1:16 3 nights in a row? Or that I would just roll over and look at my phone and it's 1:16. Like, it didn't make sense, and I feel like that's the way that my God moves. It doesn't make sense to anyone except for you. Sometimes it doesn't even make sense to you when you're going through it. But if you just allow yourself to go through it, it makes so much sense in the end. So I now realize that I feel like that was like my ancestors kind of nudging me, like, girl, wake up. Like, 1:16, that's your birth date. Like, that is the day you were born. So, like, look more into your purpose. And it was, like I said, around the time that I was trying to figure out if I was going to finish school. So I feel like that was just like, that's not really part of your purpose. And also, it'll always be there. Like, I'm not trying to, in no way am I trying to discourage anybody from going to college and, getting a degree and doing that thing. But for me, it was very much so like, you're so abundant, that's always going to be an option for you. Like, if you just decide to bet on yourself and you end up just happening to not make it, like, which that's a very slim chance with the kind of God I serve, but if you just happen to not make it, college is not going anywhere. So go ahead and do you. Like, do what feels good to you and be carried. And I kid you not, that has been the story of my life. Like, I'm just carried through every experience. That don't mean I don't cry sometimes through it or be having a little bit of stress about it, but I have been able to experience things with less resistance, because I'm able to go, like, look back and acknowledge when a particular thing happened and I was guided through it. Hence the 1:16. Like, that was like the initial nudge for me. Like, bet on yourself. You're going to be okay.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
So from there, we started talking about car troubles and how it brought on the lesson of the fact that you are truly the creator of your life, and you really know what you need. And so tell me about the situation with car trouble.
So I had, let's see, this was in 2018. I was originally, for at least since I've been able to work, I've been working with children. I've been serving as a nanny. And I love it. Like, don't ever call me a babysitter. I was a nanny. Like, it's levels to it. I was actually doing homework with these children and cooking for these children and picking them up from school, you know, and like dropping them off at school and staying with them over the weekend. Like I was legit caring for them. So nanny, like put some respect on it. But that was the work that I was doing for a very long time. And then I started to have car trouble. So my nanny job, unfortunately, was not going to be able to provide for me to get a brand new vehicle, and it was barely providing for me to continue to like put money into the vehicle that I had at the time. So it was time for me to shift and do something new, and I feel like that was just Spirit like guiding me closer to that, because I had been saying all these things about how I was gonna move out soon, and like, you know, I was just manifesting with no actual work being done. Like, you're still a nanny. Like, that's kind of hard. It's not impossible, but the type of life you're trying to live, like, this is not going to cut it. So I feel like that was Spirit just being like, let me give you a reason to be uncomfortable, to figure some other shit out. And we'll help you, but like, we're going to make you uncomfortable a little bit, because clearly nothing else is going to make you move. Like, yes, I had quit school, but I was still just living my best life as a nanny. Very comfortable. So I experienced these troubles and started looking for a job, and I was a little discouraged because, like I said, this was like really not part of the plan. Like, that's when all of the things that my family was saying about me not being successful really started to hit, because I was like, damn, like this is the moment they were talking about. I literally am struggling to find a job and am struggling to like provide for myself in the way that I need to right now, because I didn't get a degree, and like this is exactly what they said, and I should have listened. For like a very small moment, I felt that way. Then my God showed up and showed out, because I ended up getting hired at this place that they said that they required a degree, but I sent my resume anyways, and I had an interview, and I got hired, and I was able to get a consistent income that was far greater than what I had ever experienced before, and was able to get a brand new car like 2019, like that same year, and like was paying like it was just, I had set these like small goals, but God was really just like, I'm gonna give you this, like, because you believe, here's this, like you said you wanted this, but we gonna put it like that. And it was just very amazing to see how things played out. But it was a turning point for me, because I ended up having a really bad car accident before I was able to get my new vehicle. So my car was in the shop, and my grandfather had allowed me to use a car that he had for me to utilize in that time. And I'm not blaming it on this. Like, I know I was tired too. Like, I was trying to grind and, you know, I was really working a lot at the time to try to prove to my family, like, I'm going to be something. Like, what you said is not going to come true for me on my life. And I ended up falling asleep at the wheel of the vehicle. I was on my way to pick up some children from school, and I fell asleep, and I like hit the curb and hopped the curb, and the car stopped like right before I was finna go into the street where traffic was coming in the opposite direction. So it could have been way worse, but God didn't allow it to be there. It was just kind of like an eye-opening, like, okay, you need to relax a little bit, like, I got you. And also, my grandfather happened to be the one to come to the scene of the accident, because my mother was, I don't know what she was doing, but my grandfather happened to be available. He came, and I think he just kind of was able, I think my grandfather recognized how much like him I am. So a lot of the resistance that he was having towards me in that moment it kind of went away. Like, he kind of recognized, like, she's actually working for herself. Like, she is trying to be better, and she is taking a route that is less traveled, which is exactly what he did. Now, granted, that was kind of like the choice that he had, considering the time that they were growing up, but it was like he still made something of himself. So I feel like he was able to see me the way that I saw myself for that moment, and it's been very life-changing. Like, at this time, a lot of my family supports the choices that I'm making. They don't always support the way that I do it, but they're supporting me choosing myself, and for that I am grateful. And I feel like the car trouble just kind of puts into perspective how I'm always being led to exactly what I need. Like, it might look like it's a holdup, or it might look like this is something that is, going to be a setback, when in all actuality, it was giving me the fire that I needed to be like, all right, let's do something else. Like, because this is what you said that you wanted. So how are you going to get from here to there? And sometimes I feel like when we're too complacent, then situations kind of come to like shift us a little bit, and we move through that.
So yeah, your page, Life of an Herb Wife, as we said before, you speak about a plethora of topics, whether that be femininity, moving into single life, being a yogi, pole work, etc., etc. You do a lot that taps into things that people are uncomfortable with for many reasons, and your purpose is to say the things that people don't want to ingest, and the fact that you have a low tolerance for bullshit and excuses.
Yes.
And so, you are perceived as, mean and patient, as we touched on before.
Yes.
But I kind of want to have you go back into that, because you have you forgot highlight on your page, and I just want you to kind of touch on the importance of that.
Yeah. So, yes, as Stephanie mentioned, I am perceived. I think sometimes people could think that I'm a bitch, but I think that's okay. I feel like for the people that are supposed to be in my space, you're not going to let that stop you. Like, you're going to be like, damn, like, that's real. That's not bitchy. She's being real. And she might just actually have something to share with me that could help me elevate, and vice versa. Like, that's cool. I like that. I have this highlight on my page that says, "Oh, you forgot." And it's really just me speaking out on either things that I feel like have been downloads through like a meditation, or like when I was feeling kind of like a low point and then something came about and I'm like, pick yourself up. I put it there so that I could go back and refer to that and be reminded of like how far I've come, the work that I am putting in, the fact that Spirit is always looking out for me. Like, you may not have thought that you needed this today, but here it is for next week. And you're going to go back and watch it, and it serves you, and you can feel better. And it's like me looking out for myself through that. So because I think I'm a very spiritual person, not religious. So I don't want anyone to get confused. Like, when I say God, I'm speaking on like my creator and how I view my creator, not necessarily like God and Jesus and all of them. Jesus, no, like, but I am speaking on like true spirit, like true divine energy that I feel that consults with me and guides me and addresses me. Like, I feel like my journey has shown me God in a very different way, and I'm okay with that. And sometimes my God requires me to call niggas out, like, to, without, like, for lack of better words, to, and not like call you out like, hey sis, you're doing this, but to address things that I see that is a problem and it's uncomfortable for me. I know if it's uncomfortable for me, it's got to be uncomfortable for at least one other person. So I'm looking out for me and them, like, and if all of y'all agree with it too, then that's great. But like, there is not just me that feels this way. It's not just me that's experiencing this. It's not just me that's going through a breakup. It's not just me that is multifaceted and wants to express in multiple aspects of themselves. I feel like sensuality is one thing that I've just really started to tap into in my singleness, actually. Because it's been an opportunity for me to really explore me and what brings me peace and what brings me excitement and what brings me, intimacy, as opposed to what I am told is supposed to feel intimate, or what my partner felt like was intimate at the time, and like I'm just kind of conforming to that. So I think in me exploring these aspects about myself, it's very important, not necessarily that I share all of this, but very important that I share that it is possible to exist in all versions of yourself. And not only is it possible, but it's necessary. So in me exploring pole work, I've been able to connect with women that have dealt with a multitude of traumas that like they don't tap into that, or they don't explore that, or they feel like it's taboo to talk about these things or to feel these things or want to express in this way. Like, because I'm able to express it, they come to me and want to learn more. And now they're using their sensuality to bring about peace and and live out their passion and their purpose in the way that they're supposed to. So I don't feel like I'm supposed to just use my Instagram as like one thing. And I also don't feel like it's even marketing. I feel like it's just me just expressing. I feel like my work markets itself in the way that I just do the work and then people share like their experience. And that says a lot more about me than I really can say about myself. And like, hey, y'all should invest in this. Like, if you know somebody that's your homegirl that's like, sis, this was my experience and this is what happened, like that's some real shit that you're gonna trust and that you're gonna go into. So I don't feel like it's my job to conform to try to market what I do. It's like either you like it or you don't, and it's going to benefit you or it doesn't. Like, and it's not. I'm not trying to benefit everyone.
Right.
I'm not trying to market to everyone or support everyone through how I work. I just want people to see that there's a lot of aspects to you, and all of those aspects are important to the role that you're supposed to play here in this time on this earth. Did I answer that question?
You did.
Okay.
You spoke about the whole shrimp and parasite situation, but there was another post that you spoke about before that where I have never seen this post at all, but it has something to do with butterflies and roach vibes. So if you want to touch on that, because I don't know.
Yeah, so there's this post that keeps, well, I haven't seen it much anymore, actually, since I said something about it. So I don't know what that means, but I kept seeing this post like maybe 2 to 3 weeks ago that was saying, I'm tired of, I miss getting butterflies, and all I get is roach vibes. And it was cool because I see this page actually that posts a lot of things that are like very relatable. I think it's like Justin LeBoy or something.
Yeah, I had to stop following.
Yeah, I unfollowed. I had to unfollow because like it is a nice chuckle, but it's like I don't want to laugh at my pain and then stay in it. Like, it's not okay. Just because we all can relate to us experiencing womb trauma doesn't mean we just sit and laugh about it and keep on having the womb trauma. Just because we are used to niggas that treat us like shit and don't recognize our power doesn't mean we just be like, oh yeah, girl, that's me too, and then we keep doing it. Like, we actually make a change and be like, what can we do differently? What are we all doing together? Like, let's actually talk about what, sis, what do we have in common that's making us be able to have the same experience like this, so that maybe we can support each other and hold each other accountable to change those things and get the outcome that we want, as opposed to just what we're so used to getting. Just because you're used to it doesn't mean it's okay. It's not normal. It shouldn't be just accepted. You should be able to get what you want, what you desire, what you can imagine. Anything that you can imagine is real. So if you are imagining a certain type of love and so is not meeting that for you, that's not your man. Like, that's not your woman. That's not your divine partner. So you really shouldn't be just sitting in that and then laughing about the fact that you can relate to your homegirl that's also doing the same thing. So this post really upset me, and I made a comment about it. And I think, like, I also try to be very lighthearted in my passion. So I said something about, like, if you're getting roach vibes, and maybe you're a scrap, because roaches like scraps. Like, if you're attracting a roach, maybe you are behaving like something that this person on this lower level feels like they can approach because of how you're expressing yourself or delivering, I won't say expressing yourself, but what you're willing to receive. That's what I should say. Because you can express yourself hella ways and still be like, nah, nigga, that's actually not me. Like, you're still gonna have to come correct. So I feel like in the way that you are setting boundaries, that's really what helps you to be able to make those changes. And if you're not willing to set the boundaries, then yeah, you're going to get whatever comes to you because you're accepting whatever comes. And I think a large part of my work, like I think that was something that we talked about, eventually I think I'm supposed to have some type of talk show or something, or some sort of going to educate girls about this, to know that you set the standard. Really, like as a woman, and that's not even just being cocky, like as a woman, like I literally am a portal for people to get here. I am a way that human beings that are going to walk and breathe and talk and think and have their own mindsets, I'm a way that they get here. Like that's wild. So for women to recognize that type of power, that type of energy, that type of responsibility, the fact that you can create, and whatever energy you're creating that in, whoever you're creating it with, like that has a large influence on what is created. Same as if you're painting a picture, and if you're mad while you're painting a picture, you're probably going to be able to see that anger through the art, you know? So whatever energy you're creating in, that's what's going to manifest. And if you're not creating in love, if you're not creating in divinity, if you're not creating in self-awareness, in your true desires, in your truth, like, yeah, being honest. Because I feel like if you're lying about what you want, you're just going to get that lie. You're going to be living that lie. The universe, God, spirit, however, Jesus, they're going to send you whatever lie you are telling yourself. Something that is going to continue to support that, because that is what you want to see for you. So I just think that living in truth, being truthful in your relationships, being honest with yourself about what you want, what you need, what you're willing to receive, what you're willing to take, that's real important. If you don't take anything else away from this live, please acknowledge like what you're creating matters.
Yeah, because I think that some pages I have been following always speak on the fact that like you're never gonna find someone that is genuinely going to be faithful to you or this and that. And I think that it's a choice to be made to have a relationship. And I think that, and even if you're not in a relationship, I'm just speaking on the fact that we can normalize whatever we want to. And right. I think that there's not enough discussion about the people that genuinely want to have love, whether they are single or not, whether they want to have true, genuine love with another individual and make that work. And I think that because that was never seen by my generation and my families and whatever, that's all they see is that, oh, nah, you gotta know, it'll always be jokes and shit. And I never would feel like the shit's funny. I just feel like, damn, now I gotta second guess my shit that's in my household. But why the fuck am I allowing you in your post to affect me, even though I know that it's not true? So I think that's a reason why you have to cut out things. And not even to say that, because there are people that cut out the truth only so that they can believe what they want to believe. But I think that you should cut out things that no longer serve you.
That's why a lot of people I don't follow back on social media. That's not to be like, that's very intentional. Like if you followed me and maybe I didn't follow you back, maybe it was something that you're posting that I don't want to see just pop up on my feed. I might go and search you and see like, oh, what they doing, you know, every now and then, but I don't want to just be susceptible to whatever you might post today. And I feel like that's fair, and that's my African American right.
Yes. So another thing that I would like to talk about is the fact that two things. So when we essentially really met, because we attended high school together.
Right, we sure did.
But we never got the chance to have any sort of relationship at all. And I think that essentially happened for this to happen. But
because I don't think you would have liked me in high school. You would have been like, damn, she's a mess.
Who knows?
Gotta get it together.
Who knows? Because how I was very much so like open and trying to be friends with everybody. Like I could just, yeah. I would like to just take this brief moment to thank Cache Powell,
Yes.
Cash the Yogi,
Thank you.
because without her, we would not have had the very first interaction that I had with you, which was here in this space when I got a yoni steam and a facial steam. Because someone loved your services so much that they paid for like 17 yoni steams to give to other Black women in the community so that they could experience
Haley. Thank you,
your service.
Haley.
So thank you. Yes. And so that's how we essentially met. And so it was off from there. And so the other thing that was crucial for me was being a part of the Bringing the Peace community garden. And so all of the sister clients that you have there that are now my sisters, that has been a life-changing thing for me, because going to the garden brought a sense of peace that I had not been able to connect with in a very, very long time. And the fact that my kids enjoy being in that space. And I think that of course, without you, I would not have been able to be a part of that experience. Then fast forward to, the relationships that we have with all of these beautiful women. Then we are also a part of a student midwives group with Deshawn, who was gracious enough to allow us in, and being a part of that community. I feel like as we continue to grow and do so many different things, we're able to experience so much. And you made it very clear to me that I am you said it like I'm a connector.
Yeah, she's
like
the
I'm
plug.
able to bring so many different people together and do different things. And I just wanted to take a little break into talking about how we even connected and why we're even here. And I just want to reflect on that. And
I feel like it's important to acknowledge that you were just following your path. Like, both of us, we were just doing what we're supposed to be doing. And here we are, still doing what we're supposed to be doing with a different intention. Like, that's really important. So I would just encourage that people just do what they're divinely led to do, and you will always find your way. Because literally that's what's happening right here and now.
Yes.
Yeah. You were just investing in your self-care, investing in your healing. Absolutely.
For sure. And you said that you left something in July, or you started your journey even more so in July. And at the same time, I was starting my, research into what is a doula, what is this, what's that. And so we were kind of doing similar things around the same time.
Yes, we were.
I want to ask, do you still feel like you're in the abyss?
Because that's how we ended our conversation.
Yes.
No, I journaled about that more. I feel like I don't know if abyss would be the right word. I feel like I'm just present. I'm just in the present moment. I think that's, once I journaled about it and I wrote about it, I think what I was feeling initially was like an anxiety about just talking about all the possibilities for my life. And it's like, damn, I could do this, I could do this, and there's this opportunity. And I think that created this feeling of like, well, what do I do first? How do I get there? Instead of just reminding myself of what I just said, like just be on your divine path and just be present where you are now, and everything, all the pieces are going to fall into place. Like how I was talking about quitting school, to getting to experiencing loss, to bringing my loss full circle, to be able to pour into other women, because I'm coming from a space of like true passion, because this was my experience. Like I have been in a space of limbo trying to decide, should I or should I not, and to be able to go from there to like having my car trouble, and like just all of those things that guided me to right here by me just being present, So I don't think that I'm in the abyss. I think that I'm happily in the present moment, just giving myself what I need right now in every single second of the day. Like, what do I need right then? That feels more freeing to me than worrying.
I feel that.
Yeah.
And so, in closing, would you like to share about your experience meeting Minnie Riperton?
Yeah. So my favorite song by Minnie Riperton is called Reasons. If you don't know that song, you should listen to it, put it on your playlist. If you're ever having a day where you just don't understand, why God got you out here like this, just living like this, like it's ghetto out here. If you're ever just feeling like it's ghetto on earth, listen to Reasons by Minnie Riperton. This song basically just is talking about all of the reasons for why she's existing, and that they're not the things that people have told her. They're far greater than what people have told her that they are. And I remember finding this song just randomly on a playlist when I was going through my I was just trying to find out, should I quit school or not. And there was I don't remember specifically. I just know like this song came up, and I guess I just listened to old school music one day, and I heard her, and I was like, this is crazy. Like, this is exactly what I needed to hear right now. And I know that there's many reasons for my life, and since I've stopped focusing on just that one, which for me at the time was like making money and being self-sustainable, I've been able to tap into all the other reasons, but those reasons also sustain me. So, and it's more fun. It's fun like that. So that song is a really great song, and Minnie Riperton is really dope. And I found out shortly after finding her that she had actually, like, she had passed away already. Like, I kind of felt like she was an ancestor of mine that was like, here's a message for you. Kind of like Erykah Badu. She was preparing us too. So, yeah. Thank you for this. I do want to share very briefly, I have a special type of giveaway happening right now. It is for a pleasure box, and the pleasure box is going to have a number of things. It's a mystery pleasure box, so I won't tell everything, but there are some nice quality items in there. Hey Adana, wow, I'm so glad you're here. I love Adana so much.
Yes.
I love her so much. I love you, Adana. So I'm going to be gifting this giveaway, gifting this mystery pleasure box to anyone who invests in a service of mine between now and January 31st. You will be entered in a little raffle to be able to receive this box. Also, you'll get a free Yoni steam, as well as entrance into my next Sacred Womb Man circle. Sacred Womb Man with a B, because we have sacred wombs. And I'm going to be just guiding women on a journey with Queen Afua's Sacred Woman book, to healing and to exploring your healing. And yeah, the box is going to be great. It's really hard for me to keep secrets. I want to tell some things that's in it. One of the things is going to be a yoni egg. I don't know if y'all use crystals, but a yoni egg will be a part of this giveaway. A yoni wash from my sister Farron over at Eden's Garden V-Steams. I'll also be gifting a facial experience with We Are Sharu with Adana. That's actually being featured here. That's just 3 items that's going to be a part of this mystery pleasure box. So it is probably things are going to increase. So far there's 6 things that I have to give away, but I'm still brainstorming on what else I can offer. This box is just to support sensuality and to support your healing and your self-care, and to give you things to really tap into you more and more. So yes, please do not miss out. Head over to my page, Life of an Herb Wife, to book a service, get to know me, slide in the DMs, ask me some questions. No judgments. Don't tell me that I'm being, rude. Just come in my DMs with love, or not at all. I love you, Stephanie. I love y'all for joining. Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. I see a few people. I see a cousin of mine. Hey, Jama. I see a few of y'all hopping in towards the end. So you got to catch the replay when it uploads. To anyone that stayed to the end, I'm grateful for you. This will also be on my YouTube channel. I literally just upload these lives and put them on YouTube at Rose Gold Birth Services.
Okay.
And yeah, that was, in all honesty, with Briana Bundage, a part of the Iconoclasts series.
I see.
We love you too, Maura.
One moment. I love you too, Amora. What are these?
Not a question. I just appreciate your openness.
Okay.
Yes, Dr. Midwife.
That's
yes.
dope.
I
Thank
love
you.
her.
I'm glad you were here. Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. I love y'all. I love you for holding this
Yes, I
space
love
for
you
real.
too.
This was dope. This felt good. Yeah, my room feels open.
Melanin Lock Goddess. Hey, we about to hop off. You gotta watch the replay.
We are. We're about to
Love
eat.
y'all. Good
Love
night.
y'all. Peace.